Should we go? Are we all back? Are we waiting for someone else? Okay.
I think we can continue.
So we can continue.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So I was just talking about us fear, how we need to I'll start by fear, and then we move to freedom. So at least when you see fear in a different light, you will be able to then fully understand the freedom that you have and how to fully maximize and use the freedom that you have. It makes sense now? Okay. So Alice Walker says, what the mind doesn't understand, it worships and fears. Ne? What the mind doesn't understand, it worships and it fears. Okay. It looks like I might get load shedding now at 9, but it's fine. If I get load shedding, okay, it's fine. Okay, sure. Okay, so Alice Walker says, if I go off now at 9, you'll just pardon me. I'll just have to switch my network and then come back. Nah?
Okay, no problem.
I might go off at 9. So yeah. So Alice Walker says, what the mind doesn't understand, it worships and fears. Meaning, so for example, when every time you see people that you admire the most, think of it, it's because they're doing something that you don't do. They're saying something that you don't know. And you feel like, wow, it's something that your mind doesn't understand. It worships and it fears. Because you fear these people, you start feeling like, no, you can't sit with them because, I mean, their level is at, they're speaking from a certain high level. And you start to worship them because you feel, I mean, they belong there where I don't belong because you don't know. So the moment you have a certain thing that you don't understand, you are afraid of it. Meaning, even yourself, you are afraid of who you actually are because you actually have no idea of who you are. So you get to rob yourself because you actually have no idea of who you are. But the moment you start to understand something, you will see, well, there's not a big deal here. There's nothing to be afraid of here. This is just maths. All I have to do is practice these numbers regularly or ask for help, and then I've got this. You start running with your mental maths so easy. You start running with whatever that was a bit difficult for you, very easy. Now you're not afraid of it because you understand what it is. So the moment you don't understand something, you get to be afraid of it. When you are afraid of it, you worship it. It becomes like a ooh, stay away, that kind of a thing. And so what is important with that? You should be able to understand and own your fears, right? So fear is biblically, the Bible says we have not been given the spirit of fear, right? But we've been given the spirit of love, sound mind, of power, love, and sound mind, right? And sometimes in reality, There are those instances where you feel like, I'm really afraid of this, I'm afraid of that. But what is important is fully understanding exactly what you are afraid of. What are your fears? That if you do too good, people might be too jealous of you. If you portray that you are really smart, you really know, people might be think, wapapa, you could be afraid of that. So say, if I expose my real smartness, people might think that I'm too forward. Or but lawyer, people might want to take advantage of me if I'm too nice, then you are afraid to give yourself in and even help people because you're thinking they start taking advantage of me, they'll start doing. So it's important that you understand your fears, that I am afraid of 1, 2, 3, 4, and why am I afraid of this thing? So the moment you understand the fear, you understand why you are afraid of this very thing, it means you are understanding the fear, you are owning the fear, right? Owning it, I'm not saying you then want to stay with it like, oh, I'm afraid of this and that's okay. No. You are fully understanding and you are owning it in terms of you don't worship the fear. I'm afraid of this. It does not, you don't get to worship the fear and it denies you ability to even be great. Do you get what I mean? So it's important that when you see fear, face it head on and say, what is this fear? What is it about? I am afraid of 1, 2, 3 because of this reason. That it becomes easier for you to deal with it. But when you have not identified the fear and fully understood the actual fear that you have, it becomes difficult. You might find, now you're thinking, I'm in matric, but I don't want to go to vets because vets mona, the levels and the standard is too high. I'm afraid that I might not be able to match up. That could be a fear that you have. Or you feel like vets is for the rich kids. If I go to vets, I might not be socially fit because this kind of a family. So when you have identified or you are actually afraid of this, because remember, you might not be able to do well in your academics to achieve the standard that vets requires because already you are afraid of you being at vets. So you might lower your standard and say, look, even if I reach, as long as I can get to university, wherever, if it's UJ, it's okay. If it's TUT, as long as I can get somewhere. But is that what you want? Is it because you're really afraid of Stellenbosch, of just going away from your family and going far to Stellenbosch that you think I can't do Cape Town, right? So you identify that my fear is moving away from my family, far away from my family, that I feel I don't want to go to Stellenbosch. But the problem is that you are just afraid of moving from your family. So when you have identified that actually the fear that I have is moving away from my family, you fully own that fact and you know how you can deal with it. To say, okay, do you really want to move away from your family? And you then say, I really want to go to Stellenbosch, because there is a course at Stellenbosch that I want, and they are the best at dealing with this course. So what you do is you then do not allow the fear to stop you from being great by actually being able to get to Stellenbosch and get the best course that you need, the best way that you're supposed to. Right? So you deal with it in that way that you don't let it be your greatest fear, to allow fear to stop you from doing what you are meant to do. So identifying it, fully understanding what it looks like, and you are then able to understand how you can deal with it, that you don't let it stop you from being great, right? And then number 3 is that when you fail to face your fears, you lose. I've just given you an example of being afraid to go to Stellenbosch because you are afraid of leaving your family or staying too far from your family. Now, look at yourself losing out on the best education that you could get far away from your family. I mean, just imagine there is even a scholarship for you to go to working Harvard. And because when you are afraid of leaving your family, you feel, I'm not going outside the country. Who's gonna care for me when I'm sick? Who's gonna, who am I gonna call when I lack 1, 2, 3? So you then get to miss out on opportunity of a lifetime because you were just afraid of leaving your family. So when you then identify what I'm not as independent as I think I am, or as independent as I should be, then this causes a fear for me to get away from my support system, or I think support system can not reach me when I'm not too close from it. That could be a fear to say, you think your support system can only help you when you are within reach. But when you are outside their 4 walls or very close to them, you think the support system will not be there for you. So you must be able to identify the fear, understand this fear, own it so that you are able to question it, and then so that you then don't let it stop you from being great, and also you don't let it stop you from failing. So another thing with fear as well is that when you allow others to speak for you, right, you relinquish your power and you defer your dreams. Fear will say, look, more is only the ones in the top 10 that gets to speak, not you. Now you are allowing the ones who already know something, who are already excelling at it, who already have privilege to speak for you. And when they are already succeeding and they're already privileged, they won't speak at the level that you want. And they will not even represent the level that you are at. So what have you done? You have relinquished your power and you have deferred your dreams. How have you relinquished your power? You have relinquished the power to speak for yourself at the level that you're at. Remember when we began and we were talking about how you should look at what you are good at from a simple place. I said, always when you are asked a question or you are at a certain point, respond to it at the level of what you know, not the level of where you think you are supposed to be. So now, when it comes to speaking up, don't let fear allow you to let certain people to speak on your behalf and they don't authentically represent you. You must always be authentically represented. Remember, we can have one person speaking for us, but this one only represents the ones that are already successful. And Rena who are struggling are not represented. You must be able to speak up, because then you have relinquished your power to then get the help that you need. Then you have found yourself not being vulnerable enough for you to get the help that you need. But dealing with fear helps you to be also vulnerable enough, because when you are vulnerable, you will only be assisted at the level of your vulnerability. If you are not vulnerable enough, you are struggling, we will not know that you are struggling, because you let the ones in the top 10 to represent you and we think everyone is okay. The whole class, you guys understand? And everyone says yes, and we think that's okay. But when you are at a place where you feel, actually, I am not okay, don't be afraid to raise your hand. And I'm also just putting this out as well with these sessions that we're having. If you feel, now there is something that I'm not understanding, even if the majority says, yes, we are okay, ma'am, move on, you must also come to a place where you realize, I am not okay, ma'am. Please help me deal with this thing so that I'm okay and able to win the same way that everyone is winning. So that is that one. You must be able to speak up. You must be able to speak up. Another thing is that your biggest asset in any intervention or in any situation is yourself. You are your biggest asset in any intervention. I want to this is confidence boosting is more like an intervention, right? to say we have identified that there is a bit of a lack of confidence in this space, that we are intervening with a program that helps us to move from not being fully aware of who we are to a place where we are fully aware of who we are, and then we ascend with confidence. Now, you are your biggest asset. If you don't come to the party for you, you are going to miss out. If you don't fully sit here and represent yourself, you are going to miss out. If you don't sit here and do this for you, you are going to miss out, right? We will spend hours and days and whatever on these programs, but if you don't understand that the greatest asset to this intervention is not Mrs. Lord, is not Mapula, is not the confidence activator, is not Dinking. The greatest asset to this intervention is yourself. This intervention is for you, and you are the one who must then do the work and do it for you. Also, a perception that not everyone can make it is a problem. You know, sometimes we just sit and think, but this is not for everyone. Not everyone can make it in this instance. Not everyone is going to pass. Not everyone can be as confident as, don't ever have that perception. Don't ever allow that perception to be a barrier for you, because you will choose then in your head who deserves to win and who does not deserve to win. And then you might even disadvantage yourself, because remember, when you are choosing who deserves to win in that area, you are already categorizing them to say they must have this, they must speak like that, they must do this. Then you are comparing to say, do I have that? Do I speak like that? Then you start disqualifying yourself and you realize, then I don't belong in that category. You eliminate yourself and you think you don't have to win. I think I was reading one article that speaks about intelligence, right? That everyone is intelligent. The difference is how much we put in the work into us really fully digging out this intelligence. The difference is diligence in everything. The difference is diligence. To say someone else will give themselves 1 hour every day to read, and then when you give yourself 10 minutes to read, I mean, what do you expect? There must be a difference between the two people. You know, it's in the hours that we put in, it's in the time that we put in. So if you don't want to be diligent, just know that you have decided that you have a perception that certain people will win in that area. But also, this does not say you must get yourself in everything and do everything and We're saying, if you have said, this is what I like, this is where I want to be, you must automatically also say that I'm going to win in this area. It makes sense, right? So you're already saying, I am in school, I want to make it to university, meaning I'm going to win where I am right now for me to get to where I need to be. So you don't get and say, well, I will only win in maths, I'll only win in languages, but well, creative arts, not my thing. I'm not gonna, nothing builds towards your overall score. So there's no way you're going to drop a ball anywhere. You can win in creative arts, even if you don't like. Unfortunately, the system says when you are in school, you are going to be doing 7 subjects. And actually, you actually don't have the right to be choosing which one is your favorite, which one is not. Because when you get to varsity, they will calculate the entire score. They're not saying, oh, we'll eliminate, well, they eliminate LO, right? So, but they won't say that we'll eliminate history because you didn't like it much, or creative arts. It plays into the overall score. So you must always say to yourself, I don't have to choose anything. All these things didn't divine, and I'm going to work them out with all diligence, and I'm going to make it. You know, you put away the perception that, oh man, I mean, Botevacho are the ones who are really good in English, and they will be the ones getting the A+. I'm okay with a 60. Never allow yourself to be okay with any level that is not okay. So yeah, I think that is it on fear. Let me quickly jump to freedom, and then I'll allow you guys to ask questions. I want us to at least be done by 30, or at least 9:35. I have to be somewhere at 10. So if we can just let me run quickly through freedom. Freedom is quite quick, and then we will then allow you guys to then ask questions, and then I'll give you the activities that you need to do. So with freedom, I'm just speaking to freedom because today is Freedom Day, but I'm not speaking to freedom, yeah, South Africa and what. But I just want you to fully understand what freedom is, and what freedom means and what it can mean to you, right? So just a quick definition of freedom is the state of not being imprisoned or enslaved. A state of not being imprisoned or enslaved. So I want you to have a picture of a person who's in prison. A person who's in prison don't do what they want to do whenever they want to do, like you do, like you have the privilege to. If they tell them you're only having breakfast at 10, they can't wake up and say, yo, today is 7 o'clock. I woke up so hungry. I'm going to have breakfast right now. No, their breakfast is at 10. And they can't say, look, I want to do what, whenever. So look at them, a person who's in prison versus a person who's not. So you are not in prison, right? And you should be acting in a manner that shows that you are not imprisoned, you are not enslaved. Slaves are told what to do when, right? But sometimes we can call ourselves slaves of our books, slaves of school, because there is just a demand that is required from that place. But we still have, we are in control, right? Because you can decide, or I won't study at 7, I will study at 9. I will wake up rather at 3 a.m. in the morning to study and not study at 7. There's no gun on you to study at 7 p.m. So that's what freedom is, a state of not being imprisoned, a state of not being enslaved. But the one that I like more is this one, the power or the right to act, to speak, or think as one wants. So this is freedom. You've got this power. You've got the power, right? And you've got the right to act, to speak, or think as you want. What is this power? You've got the capacity, you've got the ability, you've got the potential, right? To behave, and you are even entitled. You've got the privilege and the prerogative, right? To behave in a manner that you want, to act in a manner that you want, to take actions and steps in a manner that you want, and whatever actions and whatever steps that you want. And you have the right, the capacity, the ability to even express yourself and be heard authentically in your own voice, however way that you want. Nah? You have the right to put down your opinion, to have an opinion. You actually have a right to have an opinion. Say, I don't think that thing can work. I don't think, in my own opinion, I don't think I really like that. So you've got the right to put down your opinion. You've got the right to reflect, because thinking also speaks to reflecting, being able to sit down when you guys were doing that homework, to reflect and say, someone says I'm stubborn, I don't listen, but am I really stubborn? You know, you've got the capacity to say, no, I don't think I'm stubborn. I'm just assertive. You know, I don't think I'm stubborn. I just really have an opinion that I like putting down, you know? So you've got that full capacity to do that. That is what freedom is, that no one denies you the capacity to think in the manner that you want, and no one denies you the capacity to act in a manner that you want. No one denies you the privilege and the prerogative to decide, the entitlement to decide, or I'm not going to do that homework today. I am going to do that homework today. You know, you've got the right to choose that you want to do it, or, you know, you're not going to do it, right? But what freedom is, it liberates you, right? But at the same time, it comes with so much responsibility. And I think this is what I want you guys to remember at the top of everything, to say the responsibility that comes with freedom is very high. You know, did you get it? Because, you know, when you've got the decision to choose, oh, no, I'm not going to study, or I am going to. No, that's fine. It's your right to do that. But we'll also see when the test comes, your decision that you've made, is it going to favor you or is it not going to favor you? Right? So what I want you to get from this session, to say you've got the freedom that you need for you to speak up and be heard in your own voice, for you to have an opinion, for you to take the right decisions and the actions that must benefit you. You've got the ability, you've got the capacity, you know, you've got the potential. So never doubt yourself, never doubt the kind of freedom that you have. But at the same time, this freedom that you have comes with so much responsibility. And you must be able to navigate through the freedom in a manner that you'd still take responsibility for the freedom that you have. But I want you to also then link it to our first lesson of fear, to say, with the freedom that I have, I can be able to identify the fear and say, look, I actually have the power to also start reading, so that I don't glorify people who know English better. Right? You are not afraid of people who speak a bit eloquent, because you know, or oh, these people just read more, they listen to these kind of things, or it's fine. So you've got the power to act right, the power to deal with the fears that you have. So yeah, let me just pause here and allow for questions before we get into activities. Do you have any questions? No one has a question? Okay, Dinkeng is fine. In the class, Toriso, are you guys good? Okay, I'm actually seeing the wall, so I'm not sure if, especially go in the class. So I'm not sure. I'm not hearing them. I'm not seeing them. Yeah, I can see you now. The sharp.
What are your questions? What questions? You don't have questions. Like, what do you have? You don't have questions. Why?
Okay. So you're good. Okay, it's fine. Let me just then move to the activities. Did you do the activity on page 19? Qualities and characteristics of strength.
We did activities from page 17 to 20. Yeah.
To 20.
The notes the activities for page.
Okay, I'm just trying to open Umpile's file.
19 to 20.
Okay, I see you did up to page, okay.
Page 20.
Page 20, what are you good at? Okay, so meaning now I want you to then go to, okay, you're good and your bad habits. Okay, it's fine. You're good and your bad habits. Let me see. So we will start on it's page, oh wait. Okay, I'm messing up my thing. Okay, page 21. You're good and your bad habits. And when you do good and your bad habits, I want you to align them to the Okay. So some of you have done goal setting already.
Please come
Or
again, Ms. Lodi.
I'm saying I want you to write your good and your bad habits in line with your key focus areas for the year. So some of you had done goal setting already, ne?
Yes, we did.
Okay. So I want you to write your good and your bad habits in line with your goals.
Please elaborate more on that.
Okay, so you will say, for example, I want to achieve 95% in maths or as my average, right? I want to achieve 95% as my average. Let's leave it at that. I want to let's say your total average, you not on specific subjects. Let me just make it on the whole. So I want to achieve 95% in on my total average at the end of the year. That's your goal. Now you're going to look at that goal and say, what are your good and your bad habits around it? So you will have a column that talks about your good habits. You will have your column that speaks about your bad habits. To say, my bad habits is that I get home and I watch Skim Sam till whatever until 9. So I waste 3 hours when I get home. And then another bad habit is that I don't read consistently. I'm not consistent with my reading. That is a bad habit. Another bad habit is that when I have tests, I wait for the last minute for me to start studying. That is a bad habit. Ne? So you identify all your bad habits towards your goal or in alignment to your goal, and say, this is my bad habit, this is my bad habit, this is my bad habit. And then you come and say, what are your good habits? Someone will say, I'm already consistent with my reading. I have set out that I want to read 30 minutes every day, and I'm well on my way. That is a good habit. And the good habit is that I follow my routine. That is a good habit, that I have a routine that I follow, which is doing this. I wake up at this time, I do this, and then you follow your routine. And another good habit is that when I need help every Saturday, I get this kind of help and I'm consistent with that help. So I want you to look at all those things and then you align them to that. But also, I want you to go back again, look at the rating, your confidence rating, right? Your confidence rating, and then you also write good habits and bad habits with regards to that. Remember, I told you guys about comparison, ne? We've already spoken about comparison. We did, ne? Last week. We did, ne? Okay, so you are going to look at comparison to say, I think I'm remaining at 60% of confidence because every time we're in class, I look at the top 10 and expect them to answer all the time. That is a bad habit. And it kills your confidence because you think certain people are better than you. Whereas if you had also given yourself the same time or amount of time to study, you would be able to respond in class. The class is for everyone and not for certain people that are able to speak better. So I want you to look at that. Your level of confidence, where you are now and where you want to be. What are your good habits in terms of that? What are your bad habits in terms of that? And your bad habits would be that I still compare myself. I still want to look like man, or still don't prepare well. It's a bad habit. When you have a presentation to make and you are not well prepared, you will obviously not be confident when you are not well prepared. So that is a bad habit to say, I do my things kind of last minute. That's why I'm not well prepared and I lack confidence in when I have to do a presentation. So I want you to look at those things that okaba okawataking in terms of your confidence, and you write your bad habits, you write your good habits. And then you will then come with the same goals with the same confidence assessment, you come and say, what are the real challenges or possible obstacles for you? My real challenge is that when I get home, we have load shedding and I don't have a light that I can use to read. My challenge is that when I get home, I have to take care of my sister's child. Then I don't get enough time for me to read. You know, my challenge is that I'm just lazy to read. My other obstacle is that maybe we don't have a library close by where I can get books for free for me to read, you know. So mention all those things, that what are your challenge and your possible obstacles. Some things might be that, look, I know that we are going to move from where we are staying now, and then when we get to this place, we lack Wi-Fi, or and this is a possible challenge to say I might not be able to join certain sessions that I need to join because where I would be, we don't have reception and things like that. You know, a possible challenge is that by month end, my parents will not have enough money for me to do 1, 2, 3. You know, just things that might be, that are a challenge now, and that might be a possible challenge for you as well. To say also, when you identify possible challenges, you are also then you are able to then identify where you will need help. But when you don't identify possible challenges and the challenges that you have, you will not know how to get help. And then what do you need to do? Maybe let's leave it at that. The self-limiting beliefs and what will do them in the next activity. So the activities that you have now, page 21, page 22, and page 23. It makes sense?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I think that will be it for today. Just summarizing it, we spoke on freedom, and the key things that I want to remember is that whatever the mind doesn't understand, it worships and it fears. And then you need to understand and own the fear, fully understand what are you afraid of, why are you afraid of it, what can you do for you to get rid of the fear, and not allowing the fear to disable you from being great, you know, and being able to face the fear so that you don't lose out, and then not allowing others to speak for you when there's no need for them to speak for you. You must always guard against your power. So yeah, I think in a nutshell, we're done.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mrs. Legodi. We have less than 1 minute remaining. So thank you very much for making time out of your busy schedule to facilitate the session for the program. I don't know if there's anyone who wanna say anything to Mrs. Legodi before Zoom kicks us out of the session.
What I can say is thank you for whatever that you're doing. Like, my confidence, even though I didn't attend the first session, but my confidence really leveled up. So now I understand more. I